Om Jnana Trimendasya Jnanangana Salakaya Taksu Sumilitanye Natasma Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapita Yena Bhutale Swayarupa Kadamoyan Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sritam Padakamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavascha Sri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunatha Tavitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saita Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padasahagana Lalita Sri Vishakavitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantu Radha Kantana Masate Tapta Kanchana Gorange Radha Vrindavan Vishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Haripi Vanchakapa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitana Pavanavebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo 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 Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Premapadayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurati Senana Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Ananda Lila Maya Vigraya Himabhada Vichavi Sundarayo Tasma Maha Prem Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandrayo Namana Masute Chaitanya Chandrayo Namana Masute. So I thank everyone for being here this evening for our continued class, discourse on the Bhagavad-Gita. So today we are discussing chapter 2, text 67, is it? Okay. It's about the controlled senses, uncontrolled senses. If the senses are not properly brought under control, it can create big havoc. Big havoc it can create. So Lord Krishna is talking to Arjuna here about how control of the senses is very, very important, and especially focusing more on the development of a higher taste. That if one able to develop the higher taste, then one can give up the taste for something lower. In this case, the higher taste is, Krishna Ras, Krishna Bhakti Ras, to be relishing, the ras that is there when one is relishing one's own relationship with Krishna, and if one is hearing Krishna Katha in the association of devotees, then the higher taste can be developed, and then it's possible to give up the lower taste, which has to deal with the pulling of the senses. So it's very interesting, the Lord is discussing here. So I just read it, we read the text together, and then we continue the discourse. Indriyanam hyacharatam yamano no vidhiyate tadasya harati prakyan vayu naivan ibam bhasi. Okay. Indriyanam, of the senses, he certainly, charatam, wide roaming, yet with which manaha, the mind, anuvidiyate, becomes constantly engaged. Third, that Asya, his Harati, takes away Pragyan, intelligence, Vayu, wind, Navam, a boat, Eva, like, Ambasi, on the water. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Yoga Swami Prabhupada Ki. As a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away a man's intelligence. Purport. Unless all of the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, even one of them engaged in sense gratification can deviate the devotee from the path of transcendental advancement. As mentioned in the life of Maharaj Ambarish, all of the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, for that is the correct technique for controlling the mind. So, starting from the text 54, when Arjuna asked the Lord that what is it's somebody who is transcendentally situated, stita pragyan, somebody who is fixed in a transcendental consciousness. So Arjuna wanted to know from the Lord, how does a person behave? How does he move about? How does he talk? In one sense, what are the symptoms of someone who is transcendentally situated? Sita Pragyan. Because unless one is fixed, Sita Pragyan is completely fixed. Being fixed, of course, means the senses are completely controlled. It's really difficult to be properly situated in devotional service to Krishna. Because devotional service, bhakti, that is the goal of life. Now, when we say bhakti, bhakti means prem bhakti, not just, Bhakti means that which is above all kinds of consideration. There is no motivation. It's beyond all speculations. And it's that kind of bhakti by which the Lord can become satisfied. But how one becomes situated in some kind of bhakti if one's senses is not under control? So therefore Arjuna is asking, this question. That because the previous verses to that, the Lord has been describing how a transcendentalist is situated. So starting from text 55, the Lord is beginning to answer Arjuna. And of course, as we know, that in this world, our real enemy is actually our senses. Because the senses, they always pulling us this way, that way, this way, that way. So, and normally because of the senses which are not, our senses not under control, so even though we are trying to practice spiritual life, so, and because we've always been diverted, so it becomes very difficult to really be fixed. It's just like we always give the example that if one wants to cross a river, and then one puts one's leg on two separate boats, one leg this way and the another leg that way, and they want to cross the river. So it's going to be very difficult. He actually is going to be frustrated, isn't it? You try to cross a river, you say, I can put my leg in two separate boats. Maybe you are thinking that maybe you can go faster, is it? So the problem is there. So the same way also, we want to practice Krishna consciousness. We want to get that bhakti ras. But at the same time, we are unable to bring, to fully, remove our senses from the object of sense gratification. So therefore things become difficult. Even though one might have been practicing Krishna consciousness for a long period of time, but because the certain meditation or the object of the senses is always there, so one does not get the result. So that's why sometimes we know many devotees, they always say that, oh, I've been doing this for a long period of time, still I'm not getting it. So what's causing us, why we are not getting it? Because of this thing only. Another example is, this is actually a story. So one time, there was a marriage party. They were supposed to go for a marriage. There was supposed to be marriage. And this marriage is taking place on the other side of the river. They have to cross the river. And so the marriage party, they came to the river. They came, it was evening time. So they came. And they asked a boatman that to take them across the river. And especially the marriage is supposed to take place at a certain time. Normally here in India, everything is done according to the astrological calculations. If there must be marriage, it must take place at a particular time. If it's midnight, then it must take place at midnight. If it's 5 o'clock in the morning, that's when, that's because that's considered to be very auspicious. So the marriage party, so they went to the side of the river and they asked the boatman to take them across. So everyone got into the boat. Everyone got into the boat, and the boatman was rowing. He was rowing the boat. And when the marriage party, when they got into the boat, all of them, they were tired. They all fell asleep because they had the faith in the boatman that, okay, he's going to take them across the river. So the boatman was rowing all night long. And then early morning, the marriage party, they wake up and they ask the boatman that, have they arrived at the destination? So the boatman said that, well, I think so. I think we've arrived. After all, I've been roaming all night long. And then the party, they look around and they saw that the boat is still at the same place where they were before. So they asked the boatman that, what's wrong with you, foolish man? Aren't we supposed to reach our destination? And the boatman said, oh, I've been roaming all night long. We should be there. And then they look around and they find that the boatman did not remove the anchor. So he did not remove the anchor. He was simply roaming all night long without removing. So he did not stay at the same place, So our situation is like that. We are trying to practice. We are making so much effort trying to make spiritual advancement, practice Krishna consciousness, and start expecting to establish a particular relationship with Krishna. But the anchor is there within our heart. The anchor is there. The object of sense gratification is not removed. So how do we expect to get the result? So that's why the Lord is saying that the lack of sense control, which arising for not absorbing the mind in Him. So the lack of sense control, which arises by not absorbing the mind in Krishna. So what happened? It creates havoc. So, and of course, when the uncontrolled senses, sometimes it moves towards sense object, and the mind becomes focused, because as I said, the mind, because whatever the sense object focuses, so that's where the mind will dwell on. So the mind dwell on that, and then the person will find all kinds of ways just to fulfill, that desire which has been which has been cultivated. So therefore, the senses, which follow by the mind, so it leads away the intelligence. It leads away to intelligence, which is supposed to be used, by which the soul is supposed to be used in dwelling on the service to the Lord. So the example has been given here in this verse that sometimes one is on the ocean and the boat is The boat is planted on the ocean, and then there are so many winds come, and the wind is tossing the boat here and there, tossing the boat, here and there. Indriyanam, Charatan is, just tossing here and there. So that's why. So because the one senses keep going here and there, going here and there, so one is unable to really properly have proper focus, because one is constantly thinking of the object of sense gratification. So therefore, the object, the senses, must be brought under control. In chapter 3 of the Bhagavad-Gita, and also in the chapter 6, where the Lord talks more about this. So it mentioned that the mind must always forcefully be brought under the control. That no matter where the senses goes, one also have to constantly bring it, under control. Because the Lord said that the mind can be one's enemy or one's friend. It's either one. So the mind that steers one away from Krishna, that is one's enemy. But at the same time, also the mind can also be one's friend if the mind is properly focused on Krishna. After all, we have to think of Krishna always. And how do we think of Krishna always? Only with the mind. So therefore, Bhakti Thakur is singing, Manasa Deho Gyo, Jo Kichu Moho, Apilo, Suryapadi Nanda Kishore. So Bhakti Thakur is praying that let my mind, body, and everything be fully engaged in the service of Nanda Kishore, Krishna. This way. So there has been many transcendentalists who, because they know that unless the mind is properly controlled, unless the senses are properly controlled, then the senses, if they are controlled, then one can attain the goal of life. One can attain the object of one's meditation. So the proper control must be there. But unless the mind, the senses are properly directed, there can always be frustration. So in the Bhagavatam, chapter 1, when Narada Muni, he was talking with Vyasadeva about this different procedure by which one make attempt to control the mind, to control the senses. So Narada Muni said, Yama dibi yoga patai, kama loba atu mohu, mukunda sevaya yadwa tatmadana samyate. So Narada Muni said that it is true that by practicing restraint of the senses by the yoga system, one can get relief from the disturbances of desire and lust. But this is not sufficient to give satisfaction to the soul. For this satisfaction is derived from devotional service to the personality of Godhead. So in the purpose, like Prabhupada said in the purport, he said, yoga aims at controlling the senses by practice of the mystic process of bodily exercise in sitting, thinking, feeling, willing, concentrating, meditating, and at last being merged into transcendence. One can control the senses. The senses are considered like venomous serpents. And the yoga system is just to control them. So, but on the other hand, Narada Muni recommends another method for controlling the senses in the transcendental loving service of Mukunda, the personality of Godhead. By his experience, he says that devotional service to the Lord is more effective and practical than the system of artificially controlling the senses. In the service of the Lord, the senses are transcendentally engaged. Thus, there is no chance of their being engaged in sense gratification. The senses want some engagement. To check them artificially is no check at all, Because as soon as some opportunity for enjoyment, the serpentine-like senses will certainly take advantage of it. So there are many, many instances in history, just like Vishwamitra Munis falling a victim to the beauty of Menaka. But Thakur-Haridas was allured at midnight by the well-dressed Maya, and still she could not induce that great devotee into a trap. So, because the yogis, they all adopt the transcendentalists, they adopt the yoga process to control the senses. Because the whole sense control means to withdraw it from their object, from the object of sense gratification. But the path of yoga, like pranayama, yam, pratyahara, all these processes, it may be there, but sometimes they may be effective sometimes. Sometimes the senses may be brought under control. But because the senses, they don't have a positive engagement, so the whole thing one can always become victim again to the allurement of the senses. So there are some few examples that are there. One of the examples is Subari Muni. So Subari Muni was, he was transcendentalist. And Subari Muni was, he wanted to be free from the allurement of the senses. So what he did is that he went inside the river. Actually, he came to here Vrindavan, and he went inside the river Yamuna. He submerged himself under the water, and he was doing his meditation. So that, that be under the water, he would not be, there would be no allurement for sense gratification. After all, he was completely under the water, so he would not be able to see anybody. So he closed his eye, he was there like that, was meditating for thousands of years. He was meditating for thousands of years. And then one time he opened his eyes. And then when he opened his eye, he saw two fish, they were copulating. So two fish were copulating. Immediately the desire for sex aroused within his mind. He said, oh, I must find the opposite sex to enjoy with. So Subari Muni, he left the water, he came out of the river, and he went to King Mandata. He asked him that, look, I want to marry one of your daughters. Give me one of your daughters to marry to. Since he was a great sage, and all of a sudden he said, okay, I want to get married now. So King Mandata, he said, well, I have no problem with that. Because after all, the king, he cannot refuse the sage, because he knows that if you refuse the sage that I cannot allow my daughter to be married to you, he may get cursed. So he didn't want that to happen. So he said, okay, I don't mind any of my daughter to get married to you, but you are a very ugly man, because he's been under the water for a long period of time. He said, none of my daughter will be willing to marry you, because the king, he had 50 daughters. So the sage said, don't worry, I'll just change myself. So because he has mystic power, so he immediately transformed himself into a most handsome, very beautiful man. So when the king called all his 50 daughters, and when they find that the sage, this person has become very, very beautiful, very attractive, they say, oh, we all want to marry him. So the sage married all his 50 daughters to the king, he married all his 50 daughters to the sage. So now Subari Muni, he became the husband of 50 daughters. And because he's been a mystic yogi, so he transformed himself into 50 forms. So he was enjoying these ladies for a long period of time. And then at the end, he realized his foolishness. He said, oh, what have I done? I was a contented sage, meditating, and then again, I became the husband of 50 women. So what kind of bondage is this? So anyway, so he come to the realization, and then he started meditating on the Supreme Lord, and then he developed attachment to the Lord, and then he gave up. He was able to give up that relationship and became attached to the service of the Lord. And then we have the case of King Yayati, very, very famous stories in the Mahabharata, in the Bhagavatam. So King Yayati, he was the ancestor of the Yadus. The Yadus, the Kurus, he was the ancestor. So, and of course it's a long story, of course, the story of King Yayati. But King Yayati, he wanted to, because he had become an old man, so he wanted to enjoy sex life. So he wanted to enjoy sex life, and actually King Yayati, he was the Sukracharya, he was the, He was the Sukracharya, was the daughter, was it Samishta or Devayani? Devayani, okay. So he had married to Devayani, and Devayani being a friend of, and there was a call that happened, whatever it is. So King Yayati, he made a mistake because he had a relationship with Samishta, by which he wasn't supposed to do. So Sukracharya became angry with him, and so he caused him to become an old man, to be unable to enjoy with his wife. And Devayani said, okay, then he pleaded to his father that, look, if you caused him to become an old man, how can I enjoy with him? So Sukracharya said, okay, if you can find a way by which to replace his youth, then maybe he can enjoy it. So Yayati, he asked one of his children, one of his sons, to give him his youth, to exchange his youth for his old form, so that he can enjoy, his wife. So, because in those days, people are very, very powerful in those days. The kings were very, very powerful in those days. They were not just ordinary kings. So King Yayati was able to exchange his youth with his son Puru, and then with that form, so he was able to enjoy for so many years with his wife. But he realized that again, he also come to the realization that this is not the goal of life. The goal of life is not to be engaged in unnecessary sex life. So he again came to his senses. He engaged himself in the service of the Lord, and then he gave back the youth back to his son. And then in this way, so which means that unless one engage one's senses in the service of Rishikesh, because Krishna is Rishikesh, he is the Lord of the senses, then all the attempts to control the senses, will always come back in some kind of a frustration. Because sometimes one may be successful, but oftentimes one is not, oftentimes. Just like Prabhupada he made the example in the Bhagavatam purport about Vishwamitra. Because of Vishwamitra Muni, he was a great sage. He performed austerity for thousands of years. For 60,000 years, Vishwamitra Muni performed austerity because he wanted to become a rishi. So when he was performing austerity, the Indra became jealous of him. So because Indra was afraid that Vishwamitra may take his post. So Indra sent one of the society girls, Menaka. He sent her to go and allure Vishwamitra. So while Vishwamitra was engaging in his austerity, engaging in his meditation and all that, so, the Menakas, he simply walked by with hanku bells ringing, with the hanku bells ringing of ankle bells. So Vishwamitra heard this, and then when he heard this, so he opened his eyes and he saw this very beautiful woman, and then he immediately became attracted and desired to enjoy her. So he ended up marrying this society, the heavenly damsels, the Menaka. He married her. He married her and even fathered a child with her. So this was supposed to be a sage who had been meditating for thousands of years, and again became attracted. The mind again become, attracted towards object of the senses in the form of enjoying the opposite sex. So he became the father of a daughter, and then again, of course, so he came back to his senses. So when he came back to his senses, he realized what he has done, that is kind of a mistake. So he gave up that association. He gave up that association of Menaka, and again went back to austerity. And of course, Vishwamitra, so he performed austerity for thousands of years. But the main thing is that he was a great devotee of the Lord. He was a great devotee. So being a great sage, so he was able to associate with Lord. He became like the spiritual master of Lord Ramachandra, the Lord Ram and his brothers. So he taught them how to fight and all that. So he became one of the great devotees of the Lord. So as mentioned that Yamadi Bijuga Pata, like one can adopt so many different processes of sense of self-realization in the method of the controlling of the senses. But if one is not properly engaged, if the senses are not properly tuned to the service of the Lord, then there cannot be any real success. So when the Lord is saying that the mind with the senses, which is not controlled, it's just like the wind. It's like the boat which is being carried away by the strong wind. And the intelligence, like the Lord said in the previous verses, the Lord said, Dhyayato Visaya Punsan, Sangaste Supajayate, that a person begins to meditate on the object of the senses. Dhyayate Visaya Punsan, Sangaste Supajayate. Then there was it's the famous verse? Sangat Sangayate Kama, Kama Koda Vijayate, like that. So one meditates upon the sense subject. And what happens is that sometimes one does not always get what one is looking for. So Sanjay sang that Dhyato Visaya Punsam Sangas Tesu Pajayate Sangas Sanjate Kama Kruda Vijayate. So one develop lust, and because there is no fulfillment of what the object of one desire, one becomes angry. The anger comes out of it. And then Kroda Bhavati Samohan Smriti Vibrama. So from anger there is the illusion arises, and then Samohan Smriti, from delusion, and then there's bewilderment of memory. So one loses one's intelligence. And then of course, when the memory is bewildered again, then Smriti, Brahma, Buddhi Naso, one loses intelligence, Buddhi Naso, and then Buddhi Nasat Pranashati, so everything is lost. So one loses everything, one loses one's intelligence due to basically uncontrolled senses. Due to uncontrolled senses, one loses everything. So even though we may be practicing Krishna consciousness for so long, and because we are unable to properly apply all our senses, fully engaged in the full engagement in the devotion service of the Lord, then all of our achievement can actually be taken away, just like the wind which tossing around the boat, here and there. So we lose everything. So because once intelligence has completely bewildered, so once unable to focus on the real goal of life. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioned in this purport. He said that he was given the example of Maharaj Ambarish. He said, as mentioned in the life of Maharaj Ambarish, all of his senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, for that is the correct technique for controlling the mind. In Maharaj Ambarish, Savayamana Krishna Padaravindayo, Savayamana Krishna Padaravindayo, there's a Vaikuntha, Brahmachari, maybe you can. In this chapter, let me see. Huh? Okay, let me just see. When I was a Brahmachari, I used to know all these verses. But now it's... let me see. The Savayamana Krishna Padarabhindayo, Vaikuntha Gunanavanande, Aro Abhakta Abhaktis. I don't see it quoted here. What is that? Can you recite it? I don't see it here. Yeah, there are 3 verses. 61? Oh, okay, it's there. So, this is about situation of Maharaj Ambarish. Savayamana Krishna Padaravindayo, Vachansi Vaikuntha Gunanubhadane, Karo Hare Mandira Majan Deshu, Sruti Chakara Chuta Sarkato Daye, Mukunda Lingalaya Dasane Drishan, Tabriksha Gata Spasyanga Sangaman, Graman Chatapada Saroja Sorabe, Srima Tulasya Rasanam Tadapite, Pado Hare Krishna, Pado Arochitra, Padanu Sapane, Siro Sikesa Padambi Vandine, Kama Chadase, Natu Kama Kamyaya, Eto Tamas Loka Janasayarati. So I mentioned here that King Ambarish, if he fixed his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, engaged his words in describing the abode of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing the pastimes of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the form of the Lord, his body in touching the body of the devotee, his nostrils in smelling the flavor of the flowers offered to the lotus feet of the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulsi leaves offered to him, his legs in traveling to the holy place where his temple is situated, his head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desires in fulfilling the desires of the Lord. All these qualifications made him fit to become a Matpara, a devotee of the Lord. And we know that Ambarish is such a great devotee of the Lord. So much so that when Devasmuni, when he came as a guest of Ambarish Maharaj. And that time Ambarish Maharaj, he had been fasting for 30 days. He was fasting for 30 days or 1 month. Anyway, he had been fasting for such a long period of time. And at the time when he was supposed to break his fast, that was when Ambarish came. So, Devasamuni came. So Devasamuni came when Ambarish Maharaj was supposed to break in his fast. Of course, as they say in the Sanskrit that Atiti Deva Bhava, when the guests come, he's like God. So the guest must always be honored first. But at the same time, so when Devasamuni, when he arrived, And so Ambarish said, okay, you can go and take your bath. And that time, when Devasmani went to take his bath, it was time for Ambarish Maharaj to break his fast. So he was asking the sages that, the Brahmanas that, what to do, because Devasmani is not here now, and I have to break my fast, what to do? So the sages said that, okay, you can just drink water, because drinking water is breaking the fast, and at the same time not breaking the fast. It serves two purposes. So when Ambarish Maharaj, when he was drinking the water, at that spot, Devasmani entered. So Devasmani immediately became angry. He said, oh, you dare to drink, you dare to eat, to drink water before me? I'm supposed to be your guest. And Devasmani is a Rudra, is the incarnation of Lord Shiva. He becomes so angry like anything. So immediately he wanted to chastise Ambarish Maharaj. So from his head, he produced a big demon. He produced a demon to kill Ambarish Maharaj. So because Ambarish Maharaj is a great devotee of the Lord, so immediately Lord Vishnu sent Sudarshan Chakra to protect him. So Sudarshan Chakra came, killed this demon immediately, and then was going after was going after Devasmani. So Devasmani saw the chakra coming towards him. So he was running away, he was running. He went to everywhere, he was running everywhere. No one could protect him. He went to Lord Brahma, he went to Lord Shiva. He could not be protected. They even went to Lord Vishnu. He said, my dear Lord, this is your chakra coming. Protect me from him, from your chakra. The Lord said, I have no power. I have no power to give you protection. You have offended my devotees. If he wants to protect you, you go to him. But myself, I have no power, because you've offended my devotees. I have no power over that. Unless you go to him, then that's only if he decides to give you protection, that's your luck. So Devasmani, so he had to go back to Ambarish Maharaj and beg for the forgiveness. And of course, devotees don't keep any grudge to anyone. They don't, the devotees cannot be offended by anybody. So, of course, he immediately forgave, Devasmani. So Ambarish Maharaj was such a great devotee. All his senses, everything was totally engaged in the service of the Lord. But how do one attain that platform of always being engaged, 100% in the Lord's service, whereby all one's senses is nothing but is for the pleasure of Krishna? This, of course, requires a great fortune, and that is why the association of devotees is very, very essential. That we have to make sure that we are always associating with devotees. Sometimes I've read that sometimes some people, they are writing, they say, oh, devotees, they are so judgmental, they are so critical. Everything you do, they just want to criticize you. Whereas I can have my Kami friends, they will never judge you. So they say, oh, actually, maybe it's actually better to have my association with the Kamis, because they're always nice to you, they're always kind to you, they will never, judge you and all that stuff. They're always nice to you and all that. This is the mentality that people have. So, of course, this is a trick of Maya. This is how the Maya works. Maya said that, oh, these devotees, don't associate with them. They're just a bunch of neophytes. They're just going to, Whereas you look at your Kami, they are so nice, they are so successful in what they are doing. When you are sick, they will come to you. These are your good, this is people you associate with. So this is the trick of Maya. This is how the Maya will act. Whereas Bhagavatam says that no matter no matter so-called quality a non-devotee have, what's Yasti Bhakti Bhagavati Akinchana, that verse in the 5th canto Bhagavatam, that it doesn't matter what kind of quality the so-called non-devotees have. It's not quality at all. Whereas devotees, they are the reservoir of all quality. Even if you are associating with the devotees, and we find sometimes things are very difficult, this is actually our own test. Because devotees, they are, as they said, devotees are the real well-wisher, of all living entities. So which means if you actually want to have friends, the best friend we can have are the devotees. Because they are the devotees of the Lord, they are serving the Lord. And in the association only can we find the service of the Lord to be much more congenial. Only in the association of devotees can we find that. Whereas without the devotees, it's not possible. Unless we want to kid ourselves. So therefore, the senses can be, because when we are with devotees, okay, we are engaging kirtans, mangalartis, or we are engaging in hearing Bhagavad-Gita, all these things. So all these methods, which is all geared towards developing one's relationship with Krishna. All this all geared towards that. And this is the devotee's main occupation. How one can engage in the service of the Lord, and which is possible by hearing Harikatha in the association of devotees. So, like Srila Narottam Das Thakur, he was singing that in the Prem Bhakti Chandrika. He said, I want to engage my sense of hearing, which means instead of hearing mundane songs, I hear about Krishna in the association of devotees, Sadhu Sangha Harikatha. So in the association of devotees, we hear Harikatha. And when we do that, so where is the possibility of the senses being drifted away? So therefore, one has to make a very, very, big effort in making sure that this is possible. This is the necessity of a devotee association. If you associate devotees nicely, then the senses can be brought under control. And when the senses are controlled, one automatically engage in the devotional service of Krishna. Because there's no other way to be fully engaged in Krishna service if the senses are under control. And we cannot control our senses by using artificial means. Artificial means will not help. All kind of yogic process will not help. The only procedure is this sadhana bhakti process that we have. So with this sadhana bhakti process, then the goal of life can be attained. We become very jubilant each time we hear the kirtan going on. We become jubilant, or each time, just like the gopis of Vrindavan, there's so many elements here in Vrindavan that just made them immediately become absorbed in Krishna. Anytime they see a black cloud, they become, oh, this is Krishna. They see tamar tree, oh, this is Krishna. Everything they see, they just remind them of Krishna. But because how? Because all their senses, everything has become in tune with Krishna, everything has become in tune like that. So this text, of course, this whole chapter, as I said in my last class, this whole chapter is a summary of the whole Bhagavad-Gita. So the detailed explanation of all this, the sense control, how not to be attracted to the object of the senses. So the Lord is going to be further elaborating them from chapter 4 onwards. From chapter 4 to chapter 6, we're going to be hearing so much, the detailed explanation of this, the explanation of sense control. Okay. Anyway, thank you very much. So if there is any question or comment, you can please go ahead. Yeah, first of all, there has to be a conviction that we can only relish this Krishna consciousness only in the association of devotees. How do you relish kirtan? Only association of devotees can kirtan be relished. So, and of course, the instruction has been given that we should associate with the advanced devotees. That if somebody is struggling devotees, then we have to associate. We have to kind of choose our association also. We should associate with only those who are very advanced, and then we should try to get their qualities by hearing from them, by serving them, and all that. But we should never think that we can have better engagement outside the association of devotees. So, which means if we are looking for a real friend, devotees are our real friend. There's no better friend outside the devotee association. Devotees are the real well-wisher. So every morning we make our business to devotees by saying Vancha Kapatulubhyascha Kripasinibhavacha Patitanam Pavanabhi Vaishnava Namo. So the Vaishnava, they are like the desiratory Kapaturu. So association of devotees is the most desirable association in this world. But sometimes that's why we should make sure that we don't have critical mind to devotees. We should always see devotees as the object of our respect, the object of our honor, and then this way the association can be positive. But the secret of Krishna consciousness is within the association of devotees it's called Sadhu Sangha. So the secret of Krishna consciousness is there. Or Mahaprabhu when he was instructing Sanatana Goswami, he said, Sadhu Sangha, Sava Sasha Koi, Lava Matri Sadhu Sangha, Sava Siddhi Hoy. That the only way you can attain the association of sadhu, you can attain all perfection is by Sadhu Sangha, association of sadhu. Even a moment association can give you the topmost perfection. Sava Siddhi, one can attain the topmost perfection by the association of the devotees. That's always been the scripture, the sadhus, they repeat this all the time. So if we follow this, then the senses become under control, and then we can attain success of spiritual life. But we shall stay with advanced devotees. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
The qualities he was having. Ramesh Maharaj qualities always engaged. He is a king, he is a Grasta also, he is a king also. But he is totally engaged in Krishna service.
Yeah.
So we see in the morning, sometimes recite 10 offenses, sometimes we recite Shishatunder. I suggest that sometimes we should recite the pastimes of this Ramesh Maharaj. How he is totally engaged in Krishna. We are reciting just like a parrot reciting. We do not take to our heart, just like Ramesh Maharaj is taking everything to his heart, and even if someone is such a great devotee, he cannot compete with him. So I suggest that we should always meditate on these pastimes of Ramesh Maharaj.
Yeah, that's because of our conditioned nature, because we've associated with material energy for so long. For a long period of time, as our association with material energy is there. So because of that, we are unable to really fully embrace this process of Krishna consciousness. So the Ambarish, he was naturally a devotee. So of course, we have to attain that. We have to come to that platform. That platform had to attain. But how do we attain that? So, we have to become sincere. We have to become very prayerful. We have to be praying to develop this quality. And then we have to beg for the association of great devotees. And then, of course, beg to be situated in the service of the Lord. So we have to really make a big effort in our own. Which means we have to have a big hankering. The hankering must be there. And there's an example of giving there's two logic is there. There's a monkey logic, not okay. Two logic, monkey logic and the kitten logic. So a monkey, normally you have the baby monkey that always have to be hold on to the back of the mother. Otherwise, the mothers normally jump from tree to tree, jump here and there, but it doesn't really care if the baby is there or not. They just keep jumping. And if the baby is to lose the mother, that's it, lose forever. So which means the monkey is totally just jumping. But whereas the kitten is always been held tightly by the mother. It holds all tightly by the mother. So the devotion service has been compared to that, whereby you have the mercy, and then you also have the endeavor. So both must be there. Both must go side by side. So just like the baby monkey always have to constantly hold on to the back of the mother, otherwise the mother may leave it. So similarly also our endeavor must be constant, which means we take our reading, our chanting, or whatever service we are giving, we take it very, very serious. And at the same time, we have to be praying for mercy. That, my dear Lord, I'm so weak. The Lord, the devotees, we pray to them for their protection, for their mercy, for their blessing. So the prayer for the mercy, for the guidance, protection has to go on. And at the same time, our endeavor also has to go on. Because so both must be there. In this way, then the attaining perfection is possible. So basically, it's up to us, basically, but it's there for everybody. Any other points? Is it somebody okay?
Thank you for your association with devotees. I just would like to ask for your blessings, since you were talking about engaging everything in Krishna's service, all our senses, and also our desires, to fulfill Krishna's desires. I was contemplating on whether I could perhaps engage my setbacks, or humiliation, or my weakness, or my failures in Krishna's service by trying to use it as an opportunity to cry out to Krishna, cry out. As you were saying, we have to also make our own efforts, but we also have to cry for mercy. So I was thinking I would like to ask her that I can engage my failures and my depression about my failures in Krishna's service by just using it simply and happily. By raising my hands and say, Krishna, please kindly help me and make me humble. Let me be humble, but not depressed. Be optimistic that Krishna's kindness is greater than my failures and my weaknesses. Is that the right attitude to engage my faults in Krishna's service?
Yeah, just like Srila Prabhupada was something said that I'm always praying to Krishna that I do not fall down. I don't fall down. I think one time when devotee heard this from Prabhupada, they said, "Oh, Srila Prabhupada, you're such a great person. How can you ever fall down? You can never fall down." Because devotees they hear Prabhupada praying this way. So Prabhupada said, "No. You always have to keep praying to Krishna. That please, that Krishna, I pray to Krishna that I don't fall down." Which means there was never a time that we can think that we are above the influence of Maya. There was never such time. So of course, the devotee who's fully surrendered to Krishna is not subject to the allurement of Maya, because Krishna himself protects the devotees from falling to the victim of Maya. But to show us the example, so the pure devotees, they always show that yes, you always constantly pray to the Lord. Because no matter how great you are, no matter how advanced you may be, still, the chance of falling is always there. So therefore, you have to constantly pray to the Lord. One has to constantly doing that. So, and that's how the devotee, that's what Mahaprabhu said that Taro Apisaish Amanina Madadina Kitaniya Sudari, that one we should always be very humble, we should always be very tolerant, we should always be very, very respectful to everyone, and we should not expect respect for oneself. And if you do that, then we can chant the Lord's name, Kitaniya Sadari, constantly. Because as Srila Narottam Das Thakur wrote in the Madhurya Kadambini, he was saying that when one is practicing bhakti, what happens is that three things happen. Pratishta, the pride is there. Because also one gets recognition. It's called recognition. And then the puja, the worship. Because, normally great devotees, people, they love to worship a great devotees. Especially if you're a sannyasi, everyone say, oh, Maharaj, everyone want to serve you, everyone want to service you, So, devotees, they are easily recognized, they are easily put in a high position by the society, and people want to, worship them, they get respect and all that. So, if one gets caught up in that, oh, I'm being honored by everyone is offering me respect, so I'm such a great devotee. Like, people like myself, I have experienced that. Because sometimes we go to some countries, and then, we are preaching. Sometimes when people hear some nice philosophy, so they want to come, they want to offer you a kind of respect. They say, oh, Maharaj, sometimes they call me Maharaj, I don't know why. They say, oh, Maharaj, yes, we are being blessed by you, please give us your blessing, all these things is there. So if you start thinking in my mind that, oh, I'm such a great person, I'm such a special person, so therefore I'm getting this reciprocation from people. So that actually becomes the cause of our fall down. So that's why we always have to be constantly remember our fallen condition. Because we're in this material world, because we fall to this material world by turning our face away from Krishna. We are not supposed to be here. But because of the desire to become like Krishna, so we are here in the material world. And we have been through so many millions and millions of space of life. So we always have to be constantly remembering of our fallen condition, that mode of constant humility, freedom from pride, that must be there always. And also be constant at any time. So that's why you always see the great devotees, they pray. When you read the prayer of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, it's full of all these things. You read the prayer of Narottam Das Thakur. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he said, I am worse than Jagai Madai. These are great devotees who are making this prayer. So if all these great devotees can make all this prayer, about us, who are just aspiring, I cannot call myself a devotee, that's for sure. I'm trying to be a devotee. But these are great devotees, and they are making all these prayers. So this is the examples that we have to follow. And then, the Lord is very kind. The success is there. It's not that there cannot be the success can be there, but we just have to follow the path which has been given by the previous acharyas, by the previous devotees. We have to follow their path. Follow them, like that. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, so Srila Prabhupada ki, Gopi Manande, Hare Krishna.